can't miss Louis XIV. This monument to the so-called Sun King is visible to everyone who visits the Palace of Versailles near Paris. Now tourists have the chance to learn more about the long-reigning monarch. The new exhibition, Louis XIV, the Man and the King, features more than 300 objects in a 1,300 square meter space. Alongside works that depict the king in all his glory, items from Louis's private art collection are also on display.
All kings from the 17th century had to demonstrate their glory through splendid collections. Louis XIV was always in competition with the King of England, the King of Spain, and the Holy Roman Emperor. But what set Louis apart was his incredible passion for art, which went far beyond his function as king.
It took 2 years to prepare the exhibition at an estimated cost of €2.5 million. Insurance for the works of art also ran into the millions, though the exact value is not being revealed due to security concerns. Only 1/3 of the artworks come from Versailles. The other pieces are on loan from private collectors and museums in Europe and elsewhere. The chairman of Versailles Palace is particularly proud of some pieces, like this painting, which is on loan from Britain's Queen Elizabeth and depicts the construction of the palace. Or this cabinet by Italian artist Domenico Cucci, a €4 million piece that came from the Duke of Northumberland in England.
It was not easy bringing these works together. We had to convince their owners to part with their expensive and delicate pieces for a couple of months, and sometimes that meant the most important objects in their collections. But we went about it with a lot of patience, and in the end we succeeded in bringing a number of masterpieces here.
The Louvre in Paris loaned Louis XIV's extensive collection of gemstone treasures, which was Europe's most substantial in his day. The monarch's favorite pieces were kept in his private rooms and were only shown to a select few. Another notable object is this wax rendering of the king's head when he was 65 years old, 12 years before his death. Even the hair is supposedly authentic. DNA tests are planned to prove whether it really belonged to the king. Those who visit the exhibition are treated to a very personal glimpse into the world of the Sun King.
When you look at the pictures here, you get a really good impression of palace life during the time of Louis XIV. You also see, for instance, that Louis was an ardent animal lover. He even had his favorite dogs painted. It's fascinating. You get to know Louis from a whole new side.
The king was not only a passionate art collector, he also maintained close relationships with French artists, such as the composer Jean-Baptiste Lully or the poet and playwright Molière. The king had a direct influence on their creative process.
In a sense, the king became a co-creator of certain works. He would commission artists, discuss the work with them, demand certain changes, and he was even a performer himself. Louis was a talented ballet dancer and danced until he was 32 years old. Here you see the king in his dance costume. And there is the only costume that has survived until this day. It's from the Paris Opera archives.
The king was an art lover and an art critic. He took issue with this bust by the Italian sculptor Bernini.
Louis XIV thought that Bernini had made his nose too big. He didn't really like this likeness, but he kept it at the palace until the very end nonetheless.
And Versailles is only just getting started with Louis XIV. Curators are now also planning exhibitions on his successors, Louis XV and XVI, for coming years.